Is it live? It's live. I think. What's up, guys? How y'all doing? This is Josh from KeepItTechie. Welcome back to the channel. And today I have a very special guest, for you guys. And I'll be interviewing another person that works in the IT field. You know what I'm saying? Um, and as I've been working in the field for, a bunch of different years. I've worked in different positions or whatever, but it's always good to hear other people's experiences and accomplishments in the IT field, um, just so people can get an idea of what it is, what it's like working in the field, as well as how to actually get in the field. Uh, so I appreciate you guys, coming to hang with me. And today, today's guest, I actually went to school. He's from my hometown. I went to high school with him. You know what I'm saying? I think he graduated like a year ahead of me, but he's actually working as, the head of IT for his organization. And so I want you guys to welcome my boy Curtis. How you doing, Curtis?
I'm doing all right. How everybody else doing out there in this world?
Yeah. So, um, I believe this is gonna be a great interview. You know what I'm saying? And I thank you, Curtis, for taking the time to come hang with me, man, and share your knowledge and wealth. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
no
not
problem.
wealth. I'm tripping. But first thing I want to ask you, is can you tell us about yourself and as well as your background in IT?
Well, my name is Curtis Sims Jr. I'm from Baton Rouge, as Josh said. Came back to Baton Rouge. Been in the IT field for over 15 years. Technically, it's more 20 because I did a couple of internships when I was in high school. Also, I have worked in pretty much every different field you could think of. I've done IT for corrections. I've done IT for education. I have done IT for state and federal government. Pretty much, I have a vast variety of skills that I've gained through working through these different companies and different organizations and different subsets that I've been able to bring over and just keep on pushing on to at a position where now I'm the head of IT slash director of an IT organization for a medium-sized parish library here in Louisiana.
Cool, man. So, also, like, how can you kind of elaborate on how you actually got into it, or what made you get into IT? Like, as far as was it schooling, or was it, let me let you go,
Well, what truly got me into IT was that as a child, I was blessed enough to have my parents be able to afford a computer. And we always had a computer in the house, and I always played on it. I always was on it. I always was doing little different things, taking it apart, putting it back together. And I just learned I truly loved messing with the computer. When I was in high school, you might even remember when like CD burners first came out. I was like one of the first person to have a CD burner. And I was burning CDs for everybody in school and selling, making a little money on the side. So when I started looking at college, I looked at Northwestern State, and they had a computer information system degree, which was more programming. So I said, I really like computers. Let me go ahead and do this degree and get this bachelor's. And as I went on through it, I learned more and more about IT, and I started loving it more. And then I just went there, did my bachelor's at Northwestern, and then I went to Southeastern Louisiana here in Hammond, and I got my MBA with a concentration in information system management. And from there, I just kept on going on and doing more and more IT.
Okay, cool. So yeah, we kind of had like the same similar type of story, other than I went to the army, you know what I'm saying, and I got in IT a little later on. I didn't go straight to college, like you did.
Yeah.
So, but Man, yeah, I used to my parents as well. They was fortunate enough to have a computer when I was younger and just playing around with it. I remember burning CDs too. You know what I'm saying? That was the
Oh yeah,
hustle.
that was the easiest lick you could do.
Yep, yep. So, but so let me roll right into the next question. And really, what I want to ask is, um, if you can give some information on if somebody is trying to get into IT, where should they start? In your opinion, because I know things have changed, especially since you came in and since first started. So if you got any ideas or any information you want to put out there, just go ahead.
Pretty much nowadays, it's more about you could be self-taught more now than you was in the past. Because back in the past, they always wanted to see that you had degrees, you had certificates, but you can just go to like a lender.com or Udemy, take a couple of IT courses, learn a couple of things, get a certificate, and you have enough knowledge for what is happening now. And pretty much you could just keep going from that point and learn more and more. The more you could either take it one or two ways. You either could be a specialist and concentrate on one thing like networking, server management, or you could be kind of like what I am, a jack of all trades. And you can go and study on your own nowadays. You could just keep on going. And the more you know, the more that when you're interviewed for a job interview, the more relevant, current, and correct, most of all, information you give them, you'll be able to land a job. And also with nowadays, it's more who you know than what you know. So also keep a good networking of people. Go to a couple of these conferences and tech workshops. Meet a couple of people and always keep in touch with them. Just talk shop with them every now and then. And you'll learn from them. They'll learn from you. But when it comes down to it, they can always help you get that job as a reference or if they're doing the hiring themselves. Because I have helped many people that way, just people I've met and they need a job. Say, heck, I'm looking for IT Tech 1 right now. Apply and we'll go ahead and push your name up and you'll be able to get this job if you come with the correct answers in this interview. So that's the main thing. Learn everything as much as you can, or go ahead and specialize and make sure you have a good network of other IT individuals.
Okay, cool, cool, cool. Yeah, and I'm glad you brought up that last point, man. I really resonate with that last point, uh, where you're talking about keeping a good network or getting a good network, and that's why I always try to push people to LinkedIn. You got a LinkedIn profile? Yeah, yeah. I'm friends with you on
Yeah.
LinkedIn. I'm tripping, and yeah, man, that's a great way to build a network on LinkedIn, and I try to
Yeah.
push people to that. You know what I'm saying? And any job that you've worked in, try to get people to put those recommendations on your LinkedIn and all that stuff, just to and keep it up to date. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah. And
go ahead.
also, it could give you to jobs that you never even thought about. Because recently, Louisiana First Circuit Court of Appeals had called me up out the blue, asked me if I want to interview for a job. And I had to ask the lady, how did you get my name? And she said, well, we talked to so and so, and they gave a good recommendation for you, and we think you got the skills that'll work. So once I told them, I said, man, I thank you for putting that in because I was at a point that time and I was thinking about leaving my current position for better pastures, but it
Hmm.
also helped me like get my job, make them see the value I have and raise my salary. So that made me stay where I'm at.
Oh man, that's cool. That's cool. Bless, man.
Yeah.
But so I mean, this kind of rolls in. Well, I guess that previous question kind of rolls into the next question, and is really like, how do you keep your technical skills current? And I know I typically do a lot of stuff outside of my job. So I don't know if you do the same, but can you elaborate on that?
Pretty much it's the same thing. I do a lot of studying and going to get certification. Like currently, because of the way IT trends are going more to the cloud, right now I'm pretty much doing cloud certification training on all three of the major systems: Oracle, OCI, Azure, and AWS and Google Cloud. So I'm pretty much doing that on my own because my organization, we're not big enough for True to go to cloud, even though we're thinking about moving a couple of things to cloud. But pretty much it's the same thing as when I was a kid. I just play with stuff. I play with different programs. I play with different configurations. If I want to try something new, I pull out a couple of VM copies of our production server so I could try new things that just things I'm thinking about that probably I won't put into production, but it gives me the ability to play and work with it on a production level server
Hmm.
with production level data so I can learn more about how to set this up correctly if I do decide to put it into production. And like I said, Unity, Lynda, those different little companies for a little small fee, and some are free, like with Livingston Parish Library that I work for. Lynda is free with
Hmm.
your library card. So you have a wealth of knowledge just sitting there for free. And most of the classes, they are entertaining. They have a couple of good humorous teachers, and it helps you learn better when you like having fun with a class instead of just sitting there like, oh my God, I wish the guy would shut up. But when you have an entertaining class like some of Linda's, it just makes it a whole lot easier to learn more and more and go from there and learn skills that you never even thought that you would want to know.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, and that's one of the things I try to push. What I'm saying, to different people. You gotta um, lab every day. You can
Yeah,
set up virtual machines. Set up systems on your computer. Follow that training online from those different organizations, and get your skills up, man. You can get into these fields. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? So let me go on and roll into the next one, and it's pretty much do you recommend? And I think you kind of somewhat answered this earlier, or mostly answered it, but degrees or certs or both. That's like one of the questions I like to ask.
Ugh. Nowadays, degrees are, I feel, not as important as hands-on knowledge and certification. But I still say go to college, get the life experience of college.
Hmm.
I had the best 4 years of undergrad and 3 years of graduate school of my life, just being on campus, having fun. And I also learned in college more about networking, which is pretty much my primary skill set. And being in college, I probably would have stayed more towards server management and not looked at the networking side of IT.
Hmm.
But I had a great teacher, undergraduate, who started a brand new course with pretty much a hands-on networking class. And once he recommended me and about four other students for this class for the startup, and I just had so much fun just learning about networking. It was pretty much a learn as you go class. We just go into a lab and grab some routers, some switches, a couple of servers, and network it all together. And it truly taught me that networking might be what I want to do, even though I still went ahead and did a jack of all trades, as I said. But I say, get your certs, but if you can, go to college just for the life experiences and the fun.
Okay, cool, cool, cool. Now, let me ask you this. I didn't, you know, let you know about this question, but I just wanted to kind of ask you what certifications you have. Um, just to put it out there. I
Okay.
remember you on Facebook saying you were studying for CCNA and you passed it or something, or was it CC? I don't know. It might have been one of
Yeah.
those other Cisco ones. But what certs you have though? Sorry.
I got my Comp TIA A plus, Network plus, Security plus. I have my CCNA, and I have half of my CCNP. I still have one more test.
Okay.
Uh, Currently, I'm also studying to take my OCI fundamentals and my Azure foundation right now too. Also for cloud uh, administration,
Mm-hmm.
and I also been looking at doing more of the CCNP for security also with Cisco.
Okay. That's
Yeah,
what's up.
like a lot of my certificates are more geared towards networking at first, but now
Mm-hmm.
that I see the trend of cloud coming more and more,
Mm-hmm.
I'm starting to like gradually go to the cloud side and
Okay.
learn that because as the way I see it going now, more and more companies gonna love that cloud.
Yeah, yeah, and that was gonna be like one of my later questions in the interview, but yeah, we can get to that now. But I was just gonna ask you, how important cloud computing you think will be in the future. You know what I'm saying? Because I work for a company in Houston, and one of the things that helped them save money, because it was a big network and it was, they had Active Directory, they had on site, hardware. And it just became cheaper to migrate everything up to Azure. So, how important you think that is? So those certs should be something people get into as well, after they get their basic certs as far as like A plus, Net plus, Security plus, and then get into cloud, right? Or
Yeah,
what's your thoughts?
I I 100% agree with what you just said because cloud is more and more becoming the way companies want to go. They rather spend the operation expenditure than put the capex into their company and having to buy servers and having staff to maintain it. Even with my little small library, we do a lot of software as a service.
Mm-hmm.
Our card catalog is a software as a service that's hosted by the companies that we're vendor with. We also have a website as a software as a service through Stacks with Demco, and more and more software as a service is going to be pretty compelling, especially to like a medium size like I am to a small business because you don't have to pay for your servers.
Mm-hmm.
And servers sometimes, if you configure it powerful enough, ooh, that bad boy get expensive.
Yeah.
And it's only so much a budget can be stretched to pay for servers and get proper networking. And if you want to talk about going to 10 gig speed, you just had to spend more and more money when it's easier just to go to the cloud, fire up a couple of VMs that you could turn off when you're not using it, save money there. You could also scale it out, scale it up. Like if you have a rush of people coming to your company that day, you can scale it out to make it more powerful for that little quick boost. You just looking more and more at cloud is going to be one of the main things that's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And probably also with cloud being that, it might hurt the IT field a little bit because now we won't have to have as many IT techs at the company. Because now
Yeah.
you don't have to have a guy there for networking. You don't have to have a guy there to just fix the people computers or stuff like that. Because everything is a VDI.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's a good thing to go to cloud, but I could see it also hurting us as IT techs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Um, so let me go on and kind of move to the next question. Well, since this, is kind of like a Linux channel, and I strictly focus on Linux or whatever in a lot of my videos, and it's it's just it's just something that I'm interested in, outside of work, and just something to keep me busy. It's kind of like a hobby or whatever that I, kind of mess around with. But how important do you think Linux is? Because I'm starting to see, I guess a trend of Linux being incorporated in a lot of
Yeah.
things. You know what I'm saying? And so I just wanted to get your opinion on it. Just for my Linux
You,
guys.
you don't have to learn Linux. That's pretty much a guarantee now in IT. I have about 4 different Linux servers running that I have our digital display running on Linux. I have a fog project server that's running on Linux,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just one of those things that you need to at least know. Like I make the joke with pretty much all my friends in IT that I know enough Linux to be dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
That I could probably mess something up. But the more and more I have dealt with Linux, the more and more I have learned, more and more I got comfortable, and the more and more I could do with Linux.
Mm-hmm.
Because now it's pretty much nothing for me to throw up a Linux server for a web server if I need it real quick. I can just throw it Apache and MySQL on it and get it up and running faster than I could do with IIS with Microsoft.
Mm-hmm.
So Linux, you have to know Linux if you want to stay in this field for long term. And it also goes back to my point before, the things that you just got to learn as much as you can.
Mm-hmm.
But Linux was one of the things I just started playing with at first, and then I started learning more and more. Then I started putting it in production. It just helped me knowing a little bit, at least some of Linux.
Mm-hmm.
Now I probably can't do as much as you with Linux, but I can do enough to be dangerous.
Yeah, I got you. Now let me roll right into programming languages. Do you know any programming languages? And the reason I ask is because they're starting to incorporate a lot of, at least in my job, they're starting to incorporate a lot of automation, which is a later question, but that ties into programming. You have to understand some
Yeah.
programming languages. So, do you know any? First
Oh
off,
yeah, I know quite a few. I used to be advanced with COBOL because that was one of the main classes that we had to take at Northwestern State.
mm-hmm.
COBOL, C++, ASP.NET. You could throw SQL into that mix. And try to think of what else. I know a touch of Red Hat.
Mm-hmm.
Why everything just went a blank on me? But yeah, I know a couple of different programming languages,
Okay.
and it's one of those things where you just is. I won't say it's like riding a bike because if you stay away from programming long enough, you're gonna forget a couple of things.
Oh yeah,
But
definitely.
you can study. You can get your skills back though.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Because a lot of it, and I always say this, a lot of it, once you learn like one programming language, a
Yeah,
lot
pretty much
of
is
it's pretty much the
repetitive.
same. Yeah. Like with the, when you talk about variables and, you can assign
Yeah,
things to be pulled later. You can write code outside of code and then call it,
yeah.
all that different stuff. So, but do you know anything about? Do you know any Python?
Not much. I
Not yet.
know a smidgen. I could configure a JSON file for it,
Mm-hmm.
but that's
Yeah,
about it.
I got you.
But as
And
starting a Python from scratch,
mm-hmm.
I ain't there yet with it.
Yeah, I got you. I got you. It's all good, man. And to be honest, I'm not there yet either. I didn't dabble with it. You know what I'm saying, a little bit, and I didn't got, I guess, to the point where I can kind of understand the code.
Yeah,
To the point where I can kind of put bits and pieces together. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah,
yeah, and I always try to push this as well, that programming languages, are the future, and that's gonna tie right into the automation question that I was gonna ask you about. Um, I know a lot of this stuff is gonna, eventually be implemented as far as automation, along with that cloud stuff you was
yeah.
cloud information you was putting out there. Um, so I'm gonna skip that next question because programming is probably not that important at your job yet, right? But it's
No, I'm
coming.
more. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
more fintech. I just have to fix a couple of bad programs that running from other companies and
Hmm.
prove to them that this help desk person don't know what he's talking about because this part right here is wrong.
Yeah, I got you. So, next thing I wanted to ask, yeah, is that automation piece. I was gonna say, how do you think further technological advances will impact your job in the future? And you somewhat kind of answer a lot of this because
Yeah,
cloud and all that stuff is coming. But as far as IT automation, I don't know if you can elaborate on that or not.
Pretty much it's gonna be just like the cloud. It's gonna take a couple of people jobs away. So as we said with programming, learning as much as you can will help you more to at least be able to fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
And with automation coming through and being able, a company will always take paying one programmer who could program 10 machines to do 50 people jobs than to pay those 50 people. And it's just the way of business and the way of the world that they're always going to take the cheaper route, even though it's going to hurt you.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, it's all about profits. I definitely agree. So, but that's all I had. If you have any other things you want to put out there, I guess as far as like, trying to help people get into IT, I was gonna ask you, like, have you been involved in like some type of interview process when it comes to, you know, or can you give any interview tips? Or I was just kind of thinking because I remember, I was when you told me what your title was, I was like, dang, he probably has dealt with hiring people at some point. And so, are there any tips I guess you could help or put out there for interviewing or people helping them get a job?
pretty much the best thing to do in an interview is to be yourself and be likable.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be one of the main things. If you come in dry and no personality to yourself, you put yourself off as a person that a hiring person wouldn't want to be over. You want to have a good connection with your employees. So it helps to start with the interview process and just figuring out the personality. As as one of my mentors said, look here, if you had the right personality, you can call somebody the stupidest person on earth. As long as you say it nicely enough, they'll never know you called them stupid. So it's pretty much just always have a good personality about yourself. And having a good personality also will help you when you do land a job. Because then you'll be able to ease people more and more. You'll be able to deal with different subsets of people. Because it's a whole lot different teaching a 70-year-old woman how to use a computer compared to a little 18-year-old kid who been born and raised with a computer. And you just have to know how to ease a person into what you're trying to get them to do. Like sometimes you can't use the true name of a service. You can't say the start button. You have to say, go down to the left and click on that little circle with the little window looking thing to help them better understand what you need them to do.
Mm-hmm.
But pretty much personality will help you always in an interview. Come in bubbly, smiling, smile from ear to ear, and be able to answer any and all questions they can give you. And sometimes, if you don't know, I'm going to be honest with you, go ahead and fake it. If you know enough IT work, you can fake an answer good enough to make them say, okay, I think he know what he's talking about. He just got it confused.
Mm-hmm.
So don't just say, I don't know. At least give it a shot. Because what do you have to lose at that point? You interviewing, so you ain't got the job, so you got nothing to lose. As always, Joe, what's the worst they're going to tell you? No?
No. Yep.
You probably been told no your whole life, so.
Yeah, just move on to the next one. You know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah, but always had that great personality, make people just feel bubbly to you.
Mm-hmm. I got you. Yep. So I guess the last thing I do is I kind of roll into a Q&A. So if anybody in the chat, wanna, ask any questions to Curtis, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, he's been in the field for, over 15 years, head of IT with his organization. And, if you got any questions, you know what I'm saying, for him, just pop them in the chat and, we'll try to answer it. And he'll try to answer it. And I wait a couple minutes or whatever, but let me see. While we waiting, trying to think, man. Let me see. I thought I seen something on here. Somebody said I just switched to Kubuntu. Only boot Windows for games. Can't wait until Linux.
Yep. And Ubuntu. That's what I learned. Ubuntu.
Oh yeah, Ubuntu.
Ubuntu desktop is one of the easiest ways to get into Linux.
Oh yeah.
Because you have your GUI interface, but you also can pull up the terminal as if it was a regular Ubuntu Linux server. So I give Ubuntu credit for that, for being able to ease people in from a Windows environment over to a Linux environment.
Yep. Yeah. And I keep trying to push my wife to using Linux, but she don't want to give rid of her Windows, man. She love it, bro. Yeah, and I keep trying to explain to her, you could do pretty much everything you could do in Windows, you could do in Linux. It may be some different software that you have to use, but you can accomplish pretty much everything. You know,
and pretty much now with softwares, pretty much they all on all three the different operating systems, Mac, Windows, and Linux.
Yep.
So pretty much you still have the programs you used to. It's just a different interface now.
Exactly. Let me see. Question for the guests. Here we go. How do you deal with people who refuse to keep up with technology? And I'm assuming people you have worked with.
I'm laughing because I'm pretty much going through that right now. It's pretty much, it always come down to, like I said, with interviewing and everything, personality. You just have to talk to them and let them know, hey, this is not what you want or need right now. You need to switch it over to this. Because I have had many bosses who would not let go of the ancient technology. The current battle I'm having now is that my director, he loves Apple. I keep on telling him Apple is not an enterprise system that will work with what we're doing. Because I do folder redirect for his files and a couple of other things. Like, you have to switch over to this Windows laptop if you want to be able to, take your files offline and be able to work from home. And it was just a uphill battle. So then pretty much I had to go to the second phase to get somebody to realize where you just got to let them fail. And pretty much 2 weeks after the COVID shutdown, he sent me an email. I need you to order me a laptop because this one ain't doing what I need to do. Sometimes you just got to learn to fight them battles, and sometimes you got to let them fail.
Yep.
Because pretty much them going through a part where they don't know what's going on and it's not working for them, that's when they're finally stop and listen to what you have to say.
Exactly. So, let me see. So if anybody got any other questions, I'm gonna just go on and end it there, Curtis, man. It was a pleasure having you on, man. I hope somebody got something out of it. That's really the whole goal. Just to put information out there for people, that are interested in getting into this field. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, it's a very cool field to work in my opinion. And you can make a lot of money as well. So.
Well, since you talked about money, this is going to bring me up to another point with hiring.
Okay.
Pretty much when you come out of school or you get your certificates, don't expect to come out making $100,000.
Yeah.
Your first couple of times. Realize that you're going to have to work some grunt jobs. You have to be a cable puller. You have to be the little field tech that do all the grunt work, and just steady work your way up. And like I said, network with your superiors, learn what they know. So you either can find you a better job or make them realize that you're coming for their job and set up their skills better. But don't expect to make $100,000 straight out the bat.
Yeah. Exactly. And I'm glad you said that because I ain't gonna lie, I kind of make this mistake by, just throwing the money out there without saying that, okay, you may not make this. I mean, you're not gonna make
Yeah,
this in the beginning. You know what I'm saying? It
yeah,
takes time and dedication to get to those levels, unless you end up working in Afghanistan like I did, because I
yeah,
made a big jump. You know what I'm saying? But I also had the experience and the degree in order to get uh in that type of position or whatever. So you have to, have the experience, you got to have the education or the certifications, and
yeah. Either that or you have to know somebody that's high up and get a
yeah.
little nepotism on your side.
Yeah, I know, right?
So those are the only people who pretty much gonna get a straight $100,000 job straight out of college. People who
Yeah.
is well connected with the higher ups.
Mhm.
But
Yep.
as I said, my first job I made 25 grand,
Mhm.
and to compare that to what I made 15 years ago to what I'm making now is leaps and bounds, and more leaps and bounds.
Mhm.
But it took me a while to get to that point. Just pretty much proving myself over and over again. And also, when you get your job, it's all right to be loyal, but be loyal to a point. Don't
Mhm.
get stagnated in a job that you know you're not going to move up from.
Exactly. Yeah. That's another thing. I'm glad you dropping gems, man, because um that's another thing I try to say, as far as sometimes you gotta leave where you from, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah,
in order to, move up, you know what I'm saying, and it's just something that you have to do, man. At the end of the
yeah,
day, things may not work out where you at, and you could go to a different location and have a better experience and get into different positions that you probably wouldn't have found in your location. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, because even with that part, like when I left the Secretary of State, that was one of the hard things because I loved each and every person there from the Secretary of State herself on down to the littlest person. It was just such an amazing place to work for.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew I was stagnated behind somebody that I pretty much knew I was a whole lot smarter than. Pretty
Mm-hmm.
much our whole IT department was more smarter than him. But I knew that I had to leave there if I wanted to be able to get more money and get more knowledge of IT work. But
Mm-hmm.
that's how I ended up at the library. And in the library, I tell you the truth, when I first got there, it was screwed up the high heck. They had four different networks on one VLAN. Servers wasn't configured right. And even that first month or so, I just wanted to quit and go back to Secretary of State. But I stayed with it. I pushed it through, and now just play. It pretty much runs itself now.
Okay.
Like currently, right now, I'm technically on FMLA dealing with some family issues.
Mm-hmm.
But all I gotta do is log in one or two times and fix one or two things, and pretty much it runs itself.
Okay.
But pretty much, even if you love where you at, if you see that you're gonna be stuck as an IT 2 or IT 3, and you know more and you want to do more, you want to be more, you have to go ahead and tell the people I love y'all, but I gotta go my way.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, and I definitely know about that, man.
Yeah,
But nah, man. If you don't have anything else, man, I'm gonna go down and end it. But nah, I definitely appreciate you, coming on and giving your insight, to my audience and everything. You know what I'm saying? So, um, yeah, don't look like any more questions, but I appreciate all you guys coming through to hang out in the stream, you know what I'm saying? And listening to my guest Curtis, man. And I hope you guys have a good day, but peace.
check out.